It's time to leap, leap, leap. Where are you leaping to? You are leaping into a better, healed version of yourself. Well, tonight is the night you guys have been waiting for. Yes, we're going to talk about narcissism, narcissistic people. And for those of you who are trying your best to understand what narcissism is and how to co-parent with your narcissistic ex, you're going to get strategies that's going to help change the trajectory of your co-parenting situation and cause a better life for your children. We're all about helping the children. What's up, Facebook fam? Hey, YouTube at the Leopard Chair with Lakeisha. I see you, Snow_Leopards_Leap. Y'all, tonight is a special night. It's a 45-minute segment. Why? Because we're all about doing what it takes to heal on this journey post-divorce or relationships that have severed, and you are just trying to understand how to create a better version of yourself. I have an expert on the show tonight. They are going to be very honest and candid with you, tell you about their experience, and try their best to help you on your journey towards healing. Listen, we're doing this because we care about you. So if you know anybody that needs to be on this live tonight where we're talking about how to effectively co-parent with your narcissistic ex, go ahead and tag them now. Like, share, tag, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I only have a few more days left on this Facebook Live. So if you guys want to continue to get the resources that have been provided to you, I need you to subscribe to my YouTube channel at the Leopard Chair with Lakeisha. I'm Lakeisha Bradford Mitchell, divorce recovery strategist, and I help men and women recover from divorce so that they can live a healed life without hurting long, using my animal-like instinct strategies that can be found in my book, Snow Leopards Leap. The book is coming out in the fall, but in the meantime, I do have a free ebook for you. You can get it tonight. I'm dropping the link in the chat. Look at the title of the book, click on it, get your very own copy, share it with somebody that you know. Let's not waste any time. Please show some love for my guests, y'all. Put your hands together in the chat box. I need to see some clapping hands. Show some mad love to Mr. Leon Walker, all the way from Chicago, y'all. So I am excited to have him on the show with us. Leon, you got some claps in the chat. They are waiting to pick your brain and to hear from you. Listen, this guy that I have on my show tonight, I'm very excited that he said yes. I do not have a relationship with him, but we just developed one for your benefit. And so I'm excited about what's to come in the future. He's a motivational speaker. He speaks on the topic of narcissism. He's an author of many books, and you can find him on Instagram at Leon R. Walker. Anybody that wants to get more information after tonight, follow Mr. Walker on Instagram. And what I love most about him, because I did some snooping around, y'all, I kind of went to his Facebook page and looked at his bio. I love the fact that he does a lot for the children in the community. So without further ado, man, Leon, welcome to the Leopard Chair with Lakeisha.
Thank you, Lakeisha. Thanks for having me. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing well. How are you doing tonight?
I'm good. I just came back from Cleveland and I'm ready to get into it.
We're ready too. So we might as well start with the first question that I ask every single guest on the Leopard Chair, and it is, what qualifies you to talk on the subject of narcissism? Go for it.
So being diagnosed many years ago, going through therapy, wanting to be honest, wanting to help people now. And oddly, the people that are getting me together now are the ones that are hurt. All women. I had some great men in my life, but the women, my ex-girlfriend was the reason why I started doing these videos. She was in the medical field and she knew about my narcissism. And we talked about it. It didn't go well because she just came straight at me. It's like, look, I know what's up. But I've lived it. It's a small part of the population, people that are diagnosed, but there are a lot of more people out there that can be diagnosed but won't go through therapy. I didn't go through therapy until I was 46.
Wow.
So yeah, I've done all the cheating. I've lied a lot, gaslighted women, the silent treatment, love bombing, gray rock. I've done it all. All these topics and all of these titles that I think it was Professor Sam Bankin came up with some of them, but he's narcissistic too. But I've done it all. I've been doing it for a long time. And so that's why I'm the person to talk to people about, and I'm not holding back anymore. I have had enough secrets all my life. I held back all my life, and I'm done. It was killing me slowly.
Wow. Wow. So we're using the word narcissist and narcissism, and I've learned over the last several years this is a common term that all of a sudden just appeared out of nowhere, and then people started diagnosing others in their circle and saying she's a narcissist or he's a narcissist. Let's just cut to the chase, dispel the myths. What are the characteristics of a narcissist?
So you have plenty. The grandiose type of mindset. Look at me. Look what I'm doing. I'm better than you. Lack of empathy. Afraid to love. Afraid to have empathy. It starts with the childhood of being abused and neglected. And a lot of narcissistic people don't even know that they have been abused or neglected. I didn't even know, Lakeisha. I had no idea until I was in therapy at 46 years old. She said, "Do you realize you were abused and neglected?" And I was like, "What?" Because I've been blocked out so much pain from my childhood, which is what narcissistic people do, but it doesn't go away. So you wind up living it through vicarious, not even vicariously, but you just wind up living it in relationships and marriages. And so different traits. I'm very overt, social, overbearing, outgoing, very competitive, highly manipulative, can be very vindictive. Don't like to be wrong, right? I enjoyed hurting women. I enjoyed lying. I enjoyed being sneaky. I enjoyed being a serial dater. I enjoyed cheating. And so I was immersed in every trait that you could possibly have as a narcissistic person. And so it wasn't really hard to diagnose me. But I tell people, like, you can't just say, oh, he's a narcissist or she's a narcissist. There's so many traits you have to meet, qualify to become one. And it's not a good thing. People take this thing lightly, and I'm like, I saw a video. A young man was like, "Well, why shouldn't I be a narcissist?" He has no idea, because I have a lot of nightmares. I still have nightmares. There's medicine for my nightmares, but there's no medicine for narcissism. There's talk therapy, one-on-one, which a lot of people, mainly men, won't go and sit on that couch for an hour a week for a year or 2 or 3. But I decided to do it because the military held me accountable. Out here in the civilian world, nobody will hold you accountable. If you go and check in and you get diagnosed after 8, 9 months, then you stop going, and then you don't go to get healed, work on yourself. Nobody's going to tell you, hey, you need to go. But the military held me accountable because I failed therapy twice. I walked in and walked out, walked in, walked out, kept doing it. I mean, I was disrespectful to the psychotherapist and I'm disrespectful to the psychiatrist. And so I was like, just because you got a degree don't mean you can tell me who I am. And I was very rude and disrespectful. So a lot of traits. I think you have like 5 or more, you'd be considered narcissistic. They started diagnosing people in the 80s. And I think when they first started, it was vulnerable narcissists. And then it just kept growing from there. So, yeah.
Uh-huh. And so I heard you say all of the things that you did. And well, you actually used the word enjoy, that you enjoyed doing to women.
They do.
So yeah. When you were doing those things and enjoying them, at any point did you say this is not right?
No. So probably when I got tired of her and wanted somebody new, I would check out like that and say, hey, look, I'm no good for you. And she already knew I wasn't any good for it because she either caught me cheating, lying, sexting, something, backing out the relationship, that reverse discard, ghosting her. And I was like, look, this ain't gonna work. I'm no good for you. And it hurt for me to say that because I didn't want to ever give up somebody because somebody else would get her. Narcissistic people like myself, I wanted all the women.
Oh, okay.
Even while I got married, it's a greed trait. It's a lust trait. That's why when I was younger, I couldn't understand men that only had one girlfriend. I'm like, man, dude, you crazy? And I was in the military, so I was exposed to women all around the world. But as a child, I was exposed to porn and prostitution. So excessive women was my norm. If I didn't have less than 4 women, I felt odd. I'm like, I can get all these women and I can maintain them. And then if I maintain them, I can have them. If I have them, I can tell them anything. If they believe anything that I tell them, they're not gonna go anywhere. And so it becomes their fault for being with me.
All right, so let's talk about generational. Did you see that growing up from your father? And do you have a son? If so, what does that look like with trying to make sure that this is not passed down to my son?
Well, yeah, so it's passed down to my children. It's too late. All I can do is help them, guide them. But I saw it in my mother, not knowing that what I was seeing was narcissism until years later that my sister told me about it, because my sister's a social worker. She's not practicing, but she's qualified educational wise. I saw it in my grandmother. I saw it in my grandfather. What I saw my dad, yeah, I saw it in different people. Going through therapy, I had to think about this. She took me back to my childhood, and I was like, first I was like, oh, no, I don't want to, And so I'm like, okay. She said, well, next week, Mr. Walker, we can talk about your grandparents, okay? And I was like, no. But I saw it in a lot of men. The men that I emulated growing up, the pimps, the hustlers, the athletes, the womanizers, the men that curse women out, and I see women curl up in a ball and cry. I emulated that later on in life. I had a horrible mouth on me. I saw my mother had a lack of empathy. I felt like my mother discarded me when my parents got divorced. I saw my father womanizing. I saw my uncles womanizing. My brother, everybody, they were womanizing. I saw men beat on women. That's the only thing I didn't like. Everything else is like the players, the hustlers, the cheaters, the sneaky men. I was like, oh, that's cool. It's funny. Those things are funny. Hurting women, making women cry was funny to me. And so I never had like that connection with, oh, why did they do that to you? Oh, I feel bad. I never felt bad, ever. And I just got worse and worse and worse. And so it felt good to like not have any emotions. Like my friends would be crying and curl up in the ball because a girl broke their heart. I was like, dude, I don't know how you feel. That ain't me. And so you can get over it, or I ain't hanging out with you no more. Oh man, that's yeah, it was bad. It's bad. It's bad.
So you came to realize it through a relationship with your wife or a woman that you were in a relationship with. Is that how you?
No. I came to realize it when I getting diagnosed, and then and then in a relationship, you're like, oh wow, and you start looking at what the psychiatrist said to you, or what the psychotherapist said to you, and it's like, then you're not ready to quit or give up on who I was. I wasn't ready to stop being the narcissistic person, even when I was married or with my girl. I was like, just because I'm diagnosed, I know who I am. I'm not going to stop gaslighting you. I'm not going to stop giving you the silent treatment. Those things felt good to me. What people don't understand is that those things feel good to narcissistic people. And they always say, they'll never change. It's hard. It is hard to change. And some people never will. But you have to remove yourself from feeling good about hurting women. You have to remove yourself from being okay with cheating and not having morals and integrity and character. I didn't have morals, integrity, and character, but I was a superstar in the military. So I'm like, I don't need morals. The hell with this. I'm making $120,000 a year. I just got promoted. I'm rank number 1. Why do I need character and morals and integrity if the military sees this good person in me? But I wasn't a good husband and I wasn't a good father. So seeing it in my children, as far as like, I didn't hug them a lot until I got married. Later on in my marriage, I didn't say that I love you. My dad never said he loved me. His father never said he loved him. So I was dealing with like 200 years of not saying I love you. So I didn't know how to say it, but I would pay the bills and take him shopping and take him on trips. That was my way of showing love. But then I had to learn from my ex-wife to say that I love you. But I was like, I couldn't tell her, well, I don't feel that. I don't know. I'll say it, but why I say it, I don't even know what the heck I'm saying. So my kids are affected through me, and my cheating, my infidelity, my verbal abuse. My kids are affected, through me. And so I'm working on that now. And they're 23, 26, and 27, but I damaged them. Yeah.
You mentioned that you felt that your mom was. So let's talk about women. Do women narcissists have different characteristics or display characteristics differently than men?
No, I think they're pretty much the same. I can identify them. I'm not a therapist. I'm not a psychotherapist, psychologist, none of that. But I know who I'm dealing with when I'm dealing with them, because it's like we have the same type of mannerisms. We have the same type of mindset. But women can be real like me. I'm an overt type of dude. What you see is what you get. There ain't no hiding in me. It's like, oh yeah, I can tell Leon is a player, or WHORE, or he ain't nothing, or he gonna lie, or he's sneaky. With some women, you can't tell. Women have a way of, and they have an innate ability to triangulate quite well. Men, I was able to triangulate. It's not hard, but women do it by comparing men to other men and telling them, hey, you realize my ex-husband was 6'5" and this guy might be 5'9" or 5'10". That's gonna bother him. Yeah, they'll go, my ex-boyfriend had a he had a nice beard, and yet this dude can't get a beard. Stuff like that. Yeah. And so, yeah, he's going to try his hardest to please her in other ways because he either can't grow a beard or he's not 6'5". But he has a lot of money, a nice car, and a nice home. So she'll wind up staying there for free, not paying any rent, using his car. I see him. I see women. I know I dated 3 of them like that. And they were easy for me to date, but other men struggle with them. And I had other men call me about them. I'm like, look, man, this is the deal. Since you called me, since you asked me, otherwise I would never told you. But the thing that those women had in common, all 3 of them had issues with their mother. They disowned their mother. Yeah. And then I enjoyed their mothers. I was close with their mother. They didn't like that. And so, yeah, women, narcissistic women are, I will never date one of them. And I would never, back years ago, before therapy, I would have never dated me. I would tell women, don't ever date me. Don't ever date anybody like me because it's going to end. You're going to end and have a broken heart. You're going to be lied to. You're going to be cheated on. You're not going to be number 1. You're going to be number 3, 4, or 5. It's just that simple. And I talk to women now, Lakeisha, and I try to give them, I don't tell them men. I tell the women what I did, how I am. And I say, this is what's going to happen. And they're like, really? And next you know, boom, 3 days later, it happens. It's going to happen. It's inevitable with the traits that they have. Yes.
Okay, so thank you for your candidness and your honesty. Wow, wow, wow. My question to you, because you mentioned being married and having children and also going to therapy. When your therapist brought out to you that this is how she diagnosed you, you didn't want to, hear it. At what point in the therapy sessions did you say, okay, enough is enough. You need to look inside yourself and change? Like how long?
She said, I'm not going to hurt you. And I looked at her like, why did you say that? Because after I talked to her for weeks, she finally said, look, I'm not going to hurt you. You don't have to come to my office with your guards up, Mr. Walker. And I always had my guard up with women. You know why? Because I knew I was going to hurt that woman eventually. So I was always guarded and protected against anybody that I was around, whether I was interested in her or not, dating her or not. I went into my therapist's office guarded, and I wasn't open. I didn't want to talk about my mother. I had a lot of pain. I was afraid to cry. I was afraid to let go. That's why a lot of narcissistic men are hard. They don't talk about their past. They don't talk about their mother. I was the same way. So that's how I can help people, women specifically, with their men that don't want to talk. I know what he's holding on to. He's afraid to open up and let go and be vulnerable. He's afraid to be soft. He's afraid to cry. So she said, I'm not going to hurt you. And I was like, but I was at that time, I had already had a heart attack. My heart was heavy. I was eating bad foods. One of my arteries was 80% clogged. I was smoking cigarettes. I was smoking cigars. I was drinking liquor. I was still just pushing through life. I wasn't healthy. Didn't have a healthy relationship with my girlfriend. Yet I was wanting to date and sleep with other women. I was just a wreck. And I was making $120,000 a year. I was a senior leader in the Navy, but I was very unhappy. People think narcissistic people are happy. Very unhappy. That's why we go from woman to woman to woman to woman. That's why we have to have this this reputation, this image, because it makes us feel good. But that's only externally. Inside, I was hurting. When I was before therapy, if I died on a Friday, I would have been okay with it. I just didn't want to feel the pain anymore. And so I would have checked out. Like, I don't care. My mom checked out on me, so I'm going to check out on you all too. So I had a lot of grown child wounds. I have a lot of mommy issues that I manage and regulate now, and I'm okay with it. I tell women the truth, but I'm not a child. I'm not like, I'm going to cry and be vulnerable and like don't know how to handle it. I can't handle me now,
Yeah. And so you have accepted what the therapist said, and you made a decision to make some changes.
And so, yeah. So what I said to myself and her, I said, let me see if I can change because it was like I was always looking for challenges in the military, but that was for me. I was selfish. I want to see if I can be Sailor of the Year, and I was Sailor of the Year 7 times. I want to see if I can be Recruiter of the Year, and I was Recruiter of the Year. I want to see if I can be ranked number 1 2 years in a row, and I kept being ranked number 1. And so I said, well, since let's start talking about these things, Leon, that you don't know about. I was feeling my disorders. I felt my disorders. I felt my lack of empathy, my fear of loving, not wanting to love. I felt my attachment issues. I felt my, you know, when I was giving my children the silent treatment. I felt those things. So I want to say, you know what? Let's try to feel something different, Leon. But, you know, like he said, first it was boring to me because it's like too close to God and too close to being right. I didn't like living right. My norm was living wrong, and I was addicted to danger. I didn't have fear of anything. I loved danger. My ex-wife said, every time we transfer to another state, you go find a hood, you go find danger. And I just laughed it off. I'm like, yeah, because being at home in a peaceful home was boring to me. It drove me nuts. It drove me nuts. I needed hell in my life to function, because I can get over something, I can get in trouble and get out of trouble and do something outstanding and have people clap for me and shake my hand and hug me and give me awards in the military. That's what moved me. Being in a peaceful, healthy, fruitful relationship was very boring to me. And so, you know, I said, let me try to do something. Let me see if I can do something better. And then I started doing better and thinking better and working on what I learned in therapy. And I started feeling different. I started feeling good. Yeah.
Wow. You started enjoying, you liked this new feeling that you were experiencing.
Yeah, because it's like my ex-girlfriend said, you know, Leon, you do have a gift. You just don't use it. She's always called God my big brother. She said, big brother's watching you. And I was like, man, why you hit me with that? And so I started, you know, falling in love with God more and more, where before I didn't believe in God. I didn't want nothing to do with God. I didn't want to hear about a Bible. I didn't want to hear about church. I didn't want to smell a Bible, nothing. I was bad. The case, it was horrible. It was bad. I mean, I would go into church just to appease my girlfriend. And like, since you made me go to church, now I'm going to punish you for making me go to church. So I go to church. I'm a flirt with the women in church. I didn't care.
Wow. Wow. I can tell that you've had a new experience. And I love hearing you say that you fell in love with God. There's some people that needed to hear you say that, because they have felt and experienced the same thing that you're talking about.
Yeah, God has always watched over me, but I was always running from God. Like, I get back with you, Jesus, later on. You know, that's how I would think. Then I go do something outstanding in the military, and everybody get me, you know, people shake my hand and hugging me, and I'm getting all these awards. I'm like, okay, so maybe I can wait. Jesus can wait another 6 months because I'm doing good. He's looking out for me. But when I came home, I wasn't good to my ex-wife and my kids. When I had a girlfriend, I wasn't good to her. It was good to her on the weekends when we were partying. That was for me and not her. But I just, relationship-wise, I was, you know, I looked up this thing a while ago, the 8 ways of giving.
Okay.
Look up the 8 ways of giving.
Okay, I'm writing it down now.
Right? I can't remember all of them, but you can find them. But out of all 8, I only had one. And that was, I think it was telling my story. Telling my story. And I really got off on telling people about my story, my child, look what I overcome and blah, 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 blah. But those other ways of giving, 8 ways of giving, I have -7. Wow. And if you meet somebody, you ask them about the 8 ways of giving, just like you ask people what their love languages are. Right. I didn't know. I had no clue 3-4 years ago. But a lot of people don't even know what their ways of giving are. That tell you a lot about a person that's not giving back to society, that's not doing community service, not going to church, that's not happy, doesn't have a healthy spirit, that don't make people laugh. Yeah, all I did was tell my story to brag to people to make myself feel good. Yeah.
You mentioned that you have children, and there's several people that's listening on the live tonight, and they are parents of children, and they are having a challenge trying to co-parent with their narcissistic ex, because you think, hey, we're divorced, I don't have to deal with her anymore, or I don't have to deal with him anymore. But you find out that as long as you have children, you still have to deal with them. So they're looking for strategies, because there's always tension in the conversation, there's confusion, and things that they dealt with while they were married, they still find like they're clashing. And the children are suffering because of that. What can they do, Leon, to learn how to better deal with their narcissistic ex so that the children won't be caught in the middle anymore?
Well, the children are going to be caught in the middle, but as a mom or a dad, whichever one is not the narcissistic person, you're going to have to be mom and dad to that child. If the child goes to visit dad and dad is narcissistic and the child comes home, you got to undo what they did. You have to rewire their brain for that weekend or for that week, for school, cleanliness, chores around the house, respect, communication, hugging, loving. You have to redo it. It's going to be draining, but it's better to do it now, as opposed to allow your child to become a Leon, a narcissistic person later on in life. With dealing with the narcissistic, with co-parenting, you have to realize, say for instance, you have 2 children, right?
Okay.
And this is going to be, it sounds funny, but it's true. You realize that you, instead of having 2 children, you have 3. The narcissist person will just have to be your 3rd child. You have to understand who they are. They're going to always have an agenda. They don't like the fact they lost you. You divorced them first. They got to pay you child support, alimony. This is with me. This is who I was. So I lost in court. I had to pay child support and alimony. And now I'm pissed off. I want to be the better parent. I want to make her look bad. All those things. I did a video about it called KNOW and NO. No and no. Leon, I know what you're up to. And no, Leon, I'm not talking to you right now. I know what you're trying to do. And no, you know, I don't want to talk to you. No, you can't come over. No, 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 no. I know what you're doing. So you have to understand that they always have an agenda. They're going to always, like, I got over, it took me years to get over my ex-wife and my divorce. I wanted the divorce, but it took me years to get over my anger towards her because I did her wrong, but she reacted or acted and because of what I did to her. And I still accused her, but it was all my fault. And so they're going to be mad because you divorced them first. They got to pay you alimony, child support. They're going to be mad because now you're dating. They're really going to be mad and pissed off because now you're looking beautiful and healthier than you were when you were with them. They don't like that. And now other men are attracted to you. And other men are possibly going to be around their children. And so you'll see them popping up when the divorce starts. They will, in the beginning, they'll say, well, I want a divorce. I want out of this marriage. This marriage sucks. I hate it. They don't mean that. They just trying to hurt you because most women don't want to hear the word divorce because you all are big on time and memories and family. Most narcissistic people don't care about any of that. So they'll tell you, they'll throw it in your face. I want a divorce. I'm tired of you. You know, you can lose some weight. You know, your hair's gray and you got wrinkles on your, all of that just be nasty. And then come and find out, they don't really mean that when it's time to get the divorce. They don't want to show up to court. They don't want to pay a lawyer. They don't want to hear the bad news that, hey, we got court tomorrow at 9 o'clock and you need to be there. So we talk about the marital property, or we talk about child support, visitation, alimony. Boom, 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 boom. Now reality hit. This is what you wanted. This is what I wanted. And when it was time for me to go to court, I wasn't ready. Narcissistic people don't like to be combative. They don't like constructive criticism. They don't like structure when it comes to fixing things, communicating, making things better, opening up. They can't do it. And in court, when the divorce starts, you got to hear, well, it's going to cost you $800 a month. You got to pay her lawyer fees, or you got to move out by Friday. You got to get all your clothes out. You got to go get another apartment. You know, you're going to get the kids every other weekend. Sorry, but you can't have the kids this Christmas because me and my family have my children, and your mom got to wait till next year. So all these things start. I was like, man, I wasn't ready for it. I wanted a divorce so I can go back to the streets. That's all it was.
So how do they deal with it? How do they handle it? Because I'm reading I'm seeing the thumbs up. Everybody is like learning new things from you, or dropping some jewels. But I have folks saying they're going through this right now. The ex isn't showing up for those court dates, and he's not paying child support. So what do they do? How do they handle that?
The thing is, you cannot. So in the military, I couldn't act a fool. I had to show up to court. Child support started. I had to start an allotment. Alimony started. I had to start. Everything was on time. Boom, boom, boom. Where you all go wrong is that you're like, okay, the court got him. We're gonna get, you know, he's gonna start the child support, girl. I get my no. They're gonna quit a job, get paid on the table, so they don't have to pay you anything. They're gonna not show up for the kids' visitation to hurt you. They hurt you through the kids. The problem you have is expecting them to all of a sudden, we're divorced. You think they're gonna start acting right? No. You have to understand, through divorce, they're going to get worse. So realize, KNOW and NO. Leon, I know what you're up to. I know why you're mad. I know what you're trying to do. Leon, no, we can't talk tonight. You can't come over, because what happens is when the divorce starts, it's like, oh, man, somebody else is going to be sleeping with my wife next week or next month or 6 months. Women don't normally start sleeping with people right away. They don't. I did. Women don't. So now he's like, man, you know, driving by. They do drive-bys. They stop, seeing a car in your driveway. You know, you change your hair. You must be dating somebody. Now you're wearing lip gloss. You didn't wear lip gloss with me. You know, I see you at the club with your girlfriends. I can't stand that woman. You're not going to stand it. I don't like your aunt. I don't like your mama. All these things that he can't control now, you're doing, and it's going to make him angrier and angrier. So just be careful when you start this divorce. We say we want a divorce, but that's not what we want. We want a relationship timeout so we can cheat and say, well, we were separated, so that's why I got this other woman, and then come back when we get tired of that supply. I did these things. And I'm not telling on anybody, I'm telling on me. If they don't like it, then just unfollow me, you know? Period. But they don't want a divorce. These women, I know for a fact, they're going through it now. Well, he said he wanted a divorce, Leon. That's not what he wants. Wow. And then when you start filing, he'll go, oh, baby, please. You know, they're knocking on windows and doors and coming to your job and coming to the gym and stalking you and sitting in front of your house. Oh, no, they don't want it. So you just have to expect them to be hurt, to be weak, to be vulnerable. When the divorce proceedings start, you're gonna see a totally different person. You can't expect them to say, okay, well, they said you're supposed to pay $1,500 by next month. They're gonna try to combat that. They're gonna try to delay that. The money is gonna be hurting to them because now they lost you and they losing money. And now they don't have money for the new supply that they used to have when they were married that you didn't know about. And you found out they were cheating. So now women go to the pockets for whatever reason, for child support, for bills. Yeah, I get it. Go right to their pockets because, okay, you want to be out here with these women, then I need this to take care of these children, Leon. I need this to take care of this bill, this business, Leon. We got car notes, we got car insurance, groceries. And a relationship, men just go through and just cruise through life and have it easy. Don't realize how tough it is until we get divorced and got to pay all that money.
Wow. Whew. You just said a whole mouthful. Can we find any of that? Hey, guys, for those of you who are coming in on this live a little late and you need a little bit more on what Leon is sharing, I gave his Instagram address so that you can go and see all of the videos, and you can find him on Facebook at Leon R. Walker is his Instagram page. He has books. He's an author, written several books, very active in the community with helping children. I'm happy to see everybody that's on the live. If you are getting some jewels dropped tonight, let me see some thumbs up, claps, or something in the chat box. I know y'all are like, wow, I cannot believe this guy is being as honest and transparent as he is. Leon, they're saying, speak it, brother Leon. Speak clear. They are learning some things tonight. Man, so if you have a question, you can also drop it in the chat box, my viewers. And listen, if you hadn't ordered the free ebook, the link is also in the chat for you. Click on the link, get your free ebook. It's free. We're just about trying to help you. Leon, they are giving you claps and all that in the chat. So what I heard you say is for those folks that are dealing with narcissistic ex, they have to KNOW, which, correct me if I'm wrong, they have to let the ex know that they know what they're trying to do. Is that correct? And then they have to apply the NO, which is no, here are the boundaries. You're not going to cross these boundaries.
Period. And I just did a video about setting boundaries. Women don't set strong boundaries. They don't set boundaries. They don't keep them because you know why? They become lonely. They become horny. They start missing him, the time, the memories. The kids miss you, Leon. That man or woman, because women are narcissistic too, once they start going down that path of cheating, lying, dysfunction, being addicted to drugs and porn, whatever, they're not going to turn right back around, Lakeisha. It's not going to happen. It's going to take a long time. I cheated all my life, okay? I'm about to be 58 years old, so I probably cheated 40 years, 40. And you really think I'm getting married or not? I'm not saying there's some men out here that don't cheat. I just was one of those men, right? Because I was dealing with greed and lust in my childhood and addicted to porn, addicted to women. But when you get a divorce, you got to realize you're going to be dealing with a totally different person. He's going to be angry with you. They'll want to pay you. They'll hurt the kids through you, hurt you through the kids. They'll say, I'm coming to pick up whatever, and then not show up. I did that too to my daughter. Yeah, they get jealous of the parenting style that you have that I didn't have. I was jealous. I didn't know how to say I love you to my kids. I said it and I was feeling empty. My parenting skills were off. I didn't even know how to be a husband. I didn't know how to be a husband. I provide and protect and have sex.
That's what you thought your duties were, those three.
Yeah, and set up and have a nice weekend and drive when we drive long distances. it wasn't about holding hands and cuddling and saying, I love you, baby, I miss you. You're the best thing ever happened to me. You know, I can't wait till we get our 25th anniversary. I got divorced. I was married for 12 years. I've been divorced for 16 years. I should be going on my 30th year marriage. If it was up to my wife, we'd still be married. Her parents were married would have still been married, but her father died in 03. My parents got divorced in 1979, okay? And I repeated their divorce 30 years later. Irreconcilable differences and mental abuse. My father had, my parents' divorce papers, mental abuse, irreconcilable differences. I had the same thing in my divorce papers, irreconcilable differences. But my parents couldn't reconcile either. But my dad was verbally abusive to my mom. I was verbally abusive to all the women I came in contact with. So I had to hurt her before she hurt me, because when she hurt me, I'm weak when it comes to hurting. I didn't know how to do anything but lash out. And I didn't want to be I didn't want to be physically abusive to women, but I enjoyed being verbally abusive because she hurt me, because I hurt her. I got caught doing whatever, but then I'm going to curse you out, call your name, put you down. So I was very, very addictive.
Does a narcissist also display those same behaviors to their children, or just to the lover that's in their life?
No. It's for everybody.
On the job too.
Oh yeah, on the job. What? Yeah, because I would get away with it at work, and people be like fearful and run away and hide, and I could control and dominate them. But in 2004, 2005, I got in trouble for my mouth. Almost lost my career. But I would yell at my kids. I would, say nasty things to them and make them cry and break them down. And I came home one day years ago, and I came home. I was like, "Oh, this is nice and peaceful." I told my girlfriend, I was like, "Man, they quiet. That's respect." She's like, "No, Leon, they're scared of you. You're a monster." I was like, "What?" Yeah, because narcissistic people think we do everything right and everybody loves us and we're just the best thing that ever happened to you. Now, she told me the truth. Had she not told me, I was still, to this day, I would think that my kids respect me, but they didn't. They feared me and they didn't like me.
Did at any time you think that the people you were dealing with were just insensitive people?
Yeah, that was a problem though, because I considered them not just insensitive. Well, no, I was the one that was insensitive. They were weak. Yeah, in my mind. So I'm like, you need to become either insensitive or get over it, because I did it.
Go ahead.
Because I got over it. I was molested. I was abused. Right. My parents discarded me. I was homeless. I lived with people that I didn't know. I was almost going to the center of foster care. So if I can get over it and I can do all these amazing things in the military, then you should too. Stop all that MF crying. I don't want to hear it. Yeah.
Right. So I want to talk about the children just for a moment. We have maybe 5 minutes left on our live. For parents that are co-parenting with a narcissistic ex, what do we tell the children if they see their mother behaving this way, a father? Like, how do we explain that to our children?
I tell you one thing.
What conversation should that parent have with their children?
I tell you one thing. Don't hide it, because these kids know. These kids will read up. Why is my dad angry with mom? Why did my dad scream? Why does he scream every day? Why is my dad quiet, sit on the couch? Why does my dad not talk to him? These kids read, Google, they read it. So you got to tell them the truth, because if you tell them the truth, now they're going to look at you like, well, mom, why are you lying to me? Because I already know. I've heard kids say that. You tell them the truth, you say, hey, me and your dad are working on some things right now, but this is what's going on, right? His grandfather was like this. His grandmother was like, whatever. Don't lie to the kids, right? Don't put the other parent down. Just be cordial and talk to them, just like the teachers talk to them, the counselors talk to them. Those people talk to these kids. You have to do the same thing. You have to talk to them, say, hey, my ex-wife, I don't know what she said about me, but I never shared anything with my kids. I didn't start talking about my narcissism until 2021. So nobody knew, but they knew something was wrong with me. Yeah, they knew something was wrong. Because I would walk in the house, people take off, leave, and go hide, like, oh, we're getting the hell out of here. He's home. But you have to talk to the kids. You have to talk to them. You have to nurture them. You have to feed them. You have to give them knowledge. You have to be with them. You have to hug them. You have to be that security blanket. You have to. It's going to be tough, but through divorce, you got to choose your children over that narcissistic person, because they're not going to choose you. They're going to try to hurt you through those children, and then hope that the children love them better than they love you.
And have you had a conversation with your children? I know you said that you have two. just, to explain that to them, and that was a phase in your life, and that, you're overcoming and, going
Yeah.
through the process.
Yeah, I have three. My daughter's 27, 26, my son, and my other son 23. Yeah, I talked to him and told him, but my kids are like, see, I understand their mindset. I understand their personality. So they're like, all right, Dad, we cool. We got it. We got over it. They're like me in a lot of ways, a whole lot of ways. I'm like, listen, this is where you get this from, okay? And they'll smile and laugh. And in a way, it's a protective, it's a survival mechanism for them, but it's not good because it was a survival mechanism for me. That avoidance, not wanting to show emotions, laughing when somebody else cry, they have that. And so my youngest son, he has more of his mother's ways because he can be loving and caring. He was like that as a child. But my middle son and my daughter, they like, whatever, we out, we don't care. They shut down. Communication is off with them. I call them, they'll talk. But if I don't call them, they won't talk. But my daughter's going through some phases now where I neglected her because when I cheated, I was engaged and I cheated. And you might lose some followers here, but when I say this, but I was a cheater all my life, and so I cheated while I was engaged, and the woman got pregnant, and I didn't know, and so I got married, and she had a baby. She told my wife, and I neglected my daughter to appease my wife for 6 or 7 years, maybe, and I finally got back around to me and my daughter are closer than I am with my sons now. My sons got everything from me. They got all of the visits, the PTA meetings, the school clothes shoppings, the trips, the money, the food, the bills paid. My daughter didn't get that. She got child support from her mother. She didn't get her dad. But now she's 27 and has a daughter. And when I go to Cleveland, we go to breakfast, lunch, dinner. We laugh like old time. But my daughter is a lot like me. And her mother was like saying, how do you understand her so well? And I told her, and she's like, I said, she's possibly narcissistic, but she's just like me and my mother, because I understand my daughter and I understood my mother. My mother drove everybody else crazy. My daughter drove her mother crazy. She's like, when you're around, she's totally different. Y'all get along, you have fun. I've never seen this side of her because I understand her brain. You don't understand her brain, and she never did until like January. I told her what was going on. Yeah. I can't diagnose people, but I'm letting her know that this is what she's doing because this is what I did. I was. So yeah, it's passed down.
Wow. You have educated us. I mean, we're leaving this live knowing more than we knew when we came on the live. And I only have about a minute left, Leon, in the live. What would be your last statement before we click off to those that are parenting with narcissists? Do you have any last words for them?
Yeah. Remember, don't try to save that person. If not, they're not going to get therapy. You can't fix them. They're probably dealing with 200 years of trauma and drama from their family that they're incorporating to your family, your mind, your children. You work on your children, you work on yourself. Your children need you to have mental health solid on a foundation. Whether they're young, middle-aged, or older, they're still your children. You can't try to fix this grown man or grown woman if they're narcissistic. They have to start, they have to want that. It took me till I was 46 to go into therapy, and so for 26 years, I was a hot mess, right? The gaslighting, the love bombing, the silent treatment, the shunning, the gray rock, I did all of that. So take care of you yourself because your kids need mommy or daddy if he's the one that's not narcissistic. They need you all to be mentally healthy and stable, to cook meals, to help with homework, to plan trips, to talk at night, to watch movies together, to go see grandparents, Don't worry about that narcissistic person. They're not going to get themselves together till they realize that they lost a family, they lost a husband, they lost a wife, they lost children, right? For the streets. I did it. There's nothing out there. So they may come back, they may not, but just make sure you don't lose yourself.
Wow. And on that word, we're going to just end with prayer. Y'all heard Leon. Don't lose yourself. Man, thank you for tuning in to our live Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube family. We're going to end with a word of prayer. Dear God, we pray for every listener that have been with us tonight. I think that the information that Leon has shared with them, God, will cause them to have a clearer vision and how they should handle the situation. Give them the ability to handle the task. Give them wisdom, give them the strength, and cover their children in the name of Jesus. God, we thank you for this time and this moment, and these things we ask in your son Jesus' name. Hey guys, I just need you to do 3 things, and I'll see you tomorrow. Y'all ready? I want you to